Hey folks, well today's February 23rd and I'm going to be putting my car back on the road early March, so I've got a few little jobs that I need to do on it. I haven't done a video for a while, so just for a bit of fun I thought I would do a bit of a video of changing spark plugs. So that's the job today. I've got to do a bit of a service on the car before I put it back on the road anyway. It needs an oil change. Needs a gearbox oil doing, a couple of other little jobs, but one of the jobs is the spark plugs. And I know from the forums that sometimes people can get into trouble with this, get leads mixed up, or they've changed the plugs and then they've got misfire and they don't know what they've done wrong and things like that. So I thought, well, most people know how to change spark plug. Doing 8 of them is a little bit different obviously, but it's still the same principle. Of just being methodical and taking your time really. So I don't see why this should be a job that should be left to a dealer. If you've got a few basic tools and a little bit of nous, then you should be able to change your own spark plugs and save a few quid. So my approach is to make it as easy as possible. What I like to do on the Griff anyway, it's very easy. Take the bonnet off, so bonnet's up there and gives you a bit more room, not bending underneath it and everything, so that makes life a bit easier. Then I always like to do the hardest side first and the easy side last. And on the Rover V8 engine, well, certainly when it's fitted into a TVR anyway, it's the passenger side, the near side, that's always the worst, because you've got all this ducting running up the side of the wing and it gets in the way a little bit. So first job is to remove that. So it's only a couple of Jubilee clips, one there and one there. Undo them and remove the pipe, and that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so that's the pipe off, and as you can see we've already got better access already. Then you take off the airflow meter wire here and just tuck that out of the way. Pull the dipstick out, and as you can see already you've got much better access down there to those spark plugs. That's just by removing a few pieces. So why struggle when 10 minutes you've got a few little components taken away, and you can greatly improve your chances of not cross-threading a plug and making the job easier for yourself. So that's that. Ready to start now. So you can either do them one at a time, or which is probably the best method if you've not got your plug leads numbered properly or they're not routed properly and there's a good chance of you getting them muddled up, then it's probably best to do them one at a time. But again, I like to get as good as access as possible. So what I do is remove all the caps, because I've got all mine numbered anyway, so I know exactly where they go back. Take them all up, get them out of the way, and again, look at the access you've got there now. It's far better, much easier. So my suggestion would be, if you're going to do this job, even if your plugs aren't numbered, get a marker pen, put a bit of tape on them, doesn't matter, as long as you know which one goes back where. That's all you need to do. So tools, well, you need a bit of a selection really, because as I say, access is restricted. Most of them you can get with just a normal socket with a 3/8 drive ratchet. Some I like to, on a couple of them, I like to undo them with a spanner on the socket like that, because it gives you better access. And some you need the extension bar, so it's just a mix and match really of getting them undone. So we'll go for the first one. Once they've loosened off, they should just come out by hand. There we have it, one spark plug removed. Okay, we've got a new spark plug, correct type, correct size and specification for the car and everything, obviously. Make sure you fit it in the socket. And you need a socket with a rubber with the rubber retainer in it, so that it doesn't drop out when it's held upside down like that. Now what I like to do is a little bit of copper slip, copper grease on the threads here, just to make it easier to come out next time, and also gap the plug as well with a set of feeler gauges. Generally they're set when you get them out of the box, but it's worth checking them. So as you can see, there's my copper grease. Now I'm going to put it back in. It's as simple as that. But you need to make sure it goes in straight and we don't cross thread it. So I always start spark plugs off by hand. Just feed it into the hole gently and then make sure you're in the right place. So that's pretty much bottomed out now by hand. With these cars it's very awkward. I haven't actually got a torque wrench that will fit down there. So all I do is hold the wrench near the head end and just nip the spark plug down like that. The seal will squash and it won't come out. That's it. That's all it needs. So there's number one done. And the rest are just the same really, but with varying degrees of awkwardness on how the wrench fits. So here's the next one along. Just see if it'll come undone. Yep. It should really just come out by hand, and it is. So, same again, new spark plug. A little bit of copper grease. Check the gap. That's fine. And it's ready to go back in. And again, start them off by hand. Last thing you want to do is cross thread one of these. I've worked on one before with a cross threaded where somebody cross threaded a plug in the head, and it was a nightmare, to be honest. And eventually the head did have to come off and they had to go away and be helicoiled, which was expensive, inconvenient, and all through carelessness really. You know, if you take your time and just make sure the threads have started properly, then there's no need for that to happen. That's it, that one's bottomed out now pretty much on the seal, so not too much leverage, don't really need to go mad. I like, as I say, I like to hold the wrench near the head end, and then you don't get too much leverage. If you hold it up here, you're just gonna strip a thread or break the plug or something. So just nip it down, that's all it needs. And there we go. So that's two done. And the rest is just more of the same really. Another 6 to go. So hopefully some of you might find that useful. You might have a go at changing the plugs yourself, and if you do, like I say, just take your time, make sure you can start them off by hand is the most important thing, and don't over tighten them when they're in. If they come loose, they'll only pop out, it won't do any damage. It'll just you just have to put it back in again, whereas if you over tighten it and strip the thread, then again a whole load of heartache cylinder head off, repairs, expenses, expense, etc, etc. So that's it. Okay, see you in the summer.